Watching Transformer. Welcome back to Light Talk with Sam Beeman.
Okay, we're back. You're watching Light Talk. I'm Sam Beeman, and that was a great, fun skit that we just saw by the Light Talk actors, written by Lynn Murray, and the rap song that you heard in there was by none other than No Compromise, a Christian rap group. If you haven't heard them yet, check them out. I think you'll love them. Some really great guys. Now, at the top of the program, I was on the phone, of course, talking with Bob Smiley's people to see if we could get him, and we are going to be bringing him via satellite. Yes, the comedian Bob Smiley, all the way from the Woodlands, Texas. Hey, Bob, are you there?
Yeah, it's some kind of like little internet talk show thing that he does. I think it's only available for dial-up and Amish people, but anyway, I sent him a clip last time, but he wants to do an interview, and I said I would do it, but that was obviously before I knew there was a Seinfeld marathon on, so I'm hoping it's going to be quick. But I'll call you back. Hey, Sam. Hey, buddy. I was just talking to my agent about this other interview that I have to do later today.
Oh, great, man! I'm just glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, it's just an honor to be on your show. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Lice Talk. Lice. You're not going to ask me about my third grade year, are you?
It's not Lice Talk, it's Light Talk.
Oh, okay, Light Talk. I got you. Well, I would have to say right off the bat, I prefer the 60-watt bulb to any other watt because it's soft on the eyes and it's good for reading. I guess it's good for the environment because the box it comes in is green. So that's my suggestion.
So how did you get into comedy?
Well, this is really cheesy, but my whole family was always funny. And I remember when I was in second grade, I was sitting in the back of the class, which is where the teachers always put me. And they had a math problem on the board. And the problem was, I still remember this, it was 5 birthday candles plus 3 birthday candles equal how many birthday candles? And there was this kid named Lloyd who was up at the board and he couldn't figure it out. And because, it was public school. The teacher said, does anybody want to come up and help him? And, of course, I raised my hand. And she, waited for about 10 minutes hoping someone else would raise their hand, but they didn't. And so she called me up and I walked up to the board and I said, hey, Lloyd, it's 5 birthday candles plus 3 birthday candles. And I showed him how to count it up, and I said that's 8 birthday candles. Come on, Lloyd, it's a piece of cake. Yeah, I got about the same response. I got no laughs at all from the kids. But I remember the teacher looking down at me, and she goes, "That's funny, Bobby." And then after the class was over, as we were leaving, she called me over to her desk, and she goes, "Thanks so much for that joke, that birthday candle joke. Really, I was having a bad day, and that little laugh really kind of turned my day around. So I appreciate it." So as silly as it is, back then, that's whenever I first realized how important comedy was. How I became a comedian was I was at school. I went to Abilene Christian. I went to a Christian college because I knew it would be easy to pick up girls. Because you can use Christian pickup lines, and like, "Excuse me, I believe your rib belongs to me." And so I was at this college, and I was doing elementary ed. I was going to be a teacher, and I picked elementary because I figured the classes would be easy because I already knew most of the alphabet. But my junior year, they had a stand-up competition, and first prize was $500, and so I decided to do it, and I did it, and I won, not because I was good, but because everybody else was terrible. It was just a bunch of guys that watched Comedy Central and was trying to do that material. It was some comic that had this internet talk show thing.
What?
Anyway, it was a bunch of people that didn't know a lot about comedy. So I got up and I won. In fact, the guy who went before me had a big sombrero, and his whole act was just going, "Shouldn't have sat on the front row. My sombrero's going to fall on you." So I got up and did some jokes about the school and about the zoo, and I won. And I thought, what a great experience. Well, then 2 years later, this guy calls me up out of the blue, and he is road managing this guy named Clay Cross, who's a Christian singer, and they wanted to get a comedian to come out, and they also had to hire a merch guy. And so he had seen me do that stand-up competition, so he tracked me down, which was funny because he actually called the college. And you know how they ask you for, they hold on to your number so they can call and ask you for money throughout your life. And so they had my numbers, and so he tracked me down, called me up, and I remember him. He's a really good guy, and so he hired me to come out and do that. And so I did that, the Clay Cross tour, and then the Newsboys saw me, and they asked me to come out on their tour, and then the Supertones saw me and asked me to tour with them, and basically that's how I got started. It was awesome.
What is one of the funniest things that ever happened? Sorry, Bob, my dog's barking. Hey, quiet down, I'm trying to do an interview. Okay, sorry. It's like it's on cue. Okay, so I'm sorry, Bob. So what is one of the funniest things that's ever happened to you during a tour?
Sorry, I love this episode. Funniest thing that's happened to me on the road or on stage. I mean, I've been doing this for 14 years, so there's tons of stuff. I did a show one time, and I couldn't get the first 5 rows to laugh because they were all kind of awkward, looking around, wouldn't look up at the stage, and then got off the stage and realized my pants were ripped. I did a show last summer. It was a carnival/concert kind of deal, and at the end of the carnival, everybody came over to this raceway, and I was supposed to stand on the stage, and then it was a racetrack, and they put out all these chairs, and then there was this huge stadium seating kind of deal, but the stadium seating was about 100 yards away from the stage, and but they had chairs out front, which would have been great had it not been pouring down rain, and so nobody wanted to walk out in the mud and sit in the rain to watch me, and so everybody stayed in the covered stadium seating, which was 100 yards away from the stage, and so the only thing I could think to do was they had a little railing that went up in the front of the stadium, and so I could put my feet barely on the edge and lean over the railing because in the front row was like right there, and then it went stadium seating up, and I could lean over and hold onto the railing so I wouldn't fall off, and I could lean over, and I had a microphone, and I did my show like that, which was weird because it was covered, so half of me was getting wet through my whole show, and the other half of me was dry. But the biggest problem was when I was doing stand-up, the sound would go through the mic. It had to go 100 yards back to the sound equipment and then go through the speakers and then back to the crowd. So I would tell a joke. I had to wait 3 seconds for it to go all the way back and then come back, and then people would laugh. So I would tell a joke, wait, and then people would laugh. And it was like doing a show for slow people. But as far as funniest, I'd have to go with that race car carnival show. It was really weird because afterwards I smelled like cabbage.
If you had to pick any other profession other than comedy, what would it be?
I'm pretty good at mowing. I could probably mow lawns. In fact, my brother and I owned a mowing company. It was just him and I, but we made it look big. We called it Smiley Brothers Mowing Company. We give you mower for your money. And but we mowed lawns for like 4 or 5 years, and we made lots of money. So yeah, I guess mowing, or I mean, if all else fails, I could always start my own talk show. How
do you juggle family time and stand-up comedy?
That's a really good question because that's something I really pride myself in keeping straight. For those that don't know, I've got 3 tax deductions at home, all boys, and my wife and I have been married for 14 years. And I've really learned how to balance it. And thankfully, I traveled early on with a lot of bands that knew how to mix family with this kind of crazy career. I love doing stand-up comedy. I love traveling. I love meeting people. I get a ton of free hotel shampoo. If I ever start using shampoo, I am set. But I also don't want this to be who I am or the big important part. So when I'm out on the road, I try to get all my work done. I answer all my emails. I write for some magazines. I do all that on the road. I mean, I'm in the hotel right now, getting ready for a show. And so I do all that stuff when I'm out on the road so that when I get home, I'm a dad and I'm a husband. And that's it. So as soon as I get off the plane, I drive home, and from then on, I'm playing with the kids and making out with the wife, and I just keep that balance. When I get home, I'm not a comedian or anything else. I'm just a family man, just keeping my family together and keeping them happy and keeping them focused on God.
If anybody wanted to book you, how could they get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is just to keep hounding me through Facebook. I mean, that's how I ended up doing this. But you could also go to my website, bobsmiley.com, which is that's your homepage, right, Sam? bobsmiley.com? But yeah, bobsmiley.com, and then my email address is on there. And but like I said, Facebook, I'm very active on Facebook. I even have my Twitter account hooked to link straight onto my Facebook. So all the funny things I see throughout the day and Twittering about, that shows up on my Facebook. I still read everything on my Facebook. I answer any messages, anything posted on my wall. That's where I put a lot of my videos. and stuff. Some of the stuff that's not even on YouTube gets put up there. So I would say Facebook, which is my account is facebook.com/Bob Smiley Comedy.
Thank you, Bob. I really appreciate that. Wow. That was so great to be able to have Bob Smiley on Light Talk. Well, via satellite, on Light Talk. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and cut over to California to Abby Chelian, another Christian stand-up comic who's been sent on a special assignment to ask some of the locals of California a few questions. Abigail, it's over to you.
Hi Sam, this is Abby Chelian. I'm here in Santa Monica, California. I've been wondering, what is people's general knowledge of the Bible here in the LA area? I have no idea, so I thought we'd just ask people. My name is Abby Chelian. I'm a comedian here in LA. I was just wondering if you'd be interested in being interviewed on a talk show. Just wondering if you guys would be interested in being interviewed on a talk show?
We actually have to run.
I have a flight later. Good luck. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I want to interview that dog. What's your name?
Andy.
Andy. That's short for Andrew. Let me ask you something. Do you know who Andrew was in the Bible?
He's got all the one they got it called Andrew Jackson. Oh, that was got the money.
What is the 14th commandment?
Is it thou shalt not kill?
What was the 14th commandment?
I have no idea.
That's good, because there aren't 14 of them.
That's
there
right.
aren't.
There are 12, right?
10.
Even better.
I'm Abby Chelian, by the way.
Angel.
Angel. Okay, cool. Now, angel, is that from the Bible?
No.
I've
You
seen-
read the Bible?
I do. I do.
I don't.
What was the 14th commandment?
I thought there were only 10.
See, you know more than you think. Do you think you could name 5 of the 10 commandments?
Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal.
5 of the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not
good.
lie. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Yeah. Thou shalt not cause violence. Some along those lines.
Is this something like thou shalt not knock at your neighbor's door if they're not your neighbor? Something like that.
Can you name 5 beers?
Beers.
Yeah.
Corona, Heineken, Bud, Beaks, and Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Who do you think's taller, David or Jesus? David or Jesus?
I think they were both short.
Well, I was always told David was kind of small in the whole Goliath story. He was kind of one of the short ones out of the group.
David didn't create basketball, so he's not tall.
Hi, I'm Chi-Chi.
Hi, Chi. Is that a biblical name? Have you read the Bible before?
A lot of people in there, they're like 2,000 years old and stuff like that. So,
Well, yeah, like 900. Methuselah.
Yeah, I know they're
yeah.
big.
They're like, my son is so young, he's only 204. He's like a baby. What's your name? Well, I was just wondering if you know the whale from Jonah. True or false? In the Bible, God at one point caused a donkey to speak.
Isn't that in Shrek?
If Jesus had this bottle of water, what do you think he would do with it?
Drink it.
No, he would turn it into wine. That's what Jesus does.
Okay.
What do you think Jesus would do with that bottle?
Probably would put some vodka in it.
Where do you think is the easiest place to get a Bible?
A motel.
Isn't it ironic that to get it from a motel, you have to break the 8th commandment? Which is to steal. You can also get them on Amazon. True or false? There was a talking donkey in the Bible.
I believe that was true.
True or false? There's a talking donkey in Shrek.
True.
Can you name one of the 12 tribes of Israel? I think she just said Asher. I think when she closes her eyes like that, I mean, she's really focusing. So there you have it, Sam. This is Abby Chelian signing off. Feel free to check me out at www.chelian.org/Abby. All right, back to you, Sam.
Thank you again, Abigail. Really appreciate that. We've had a fun time here on Light Talk. Garrett Lee, Light Talk actors, Bob Smiley, and Abigail Chelian. Wow, from the East Coast to the West Coast. It's been a full episode. So thank you again for tuning in to Light Talk. Take care and God bless.
To recap, I think definitely 60-watt bulb is the way to go. This is Bob Smiley, and you're watching Light Talk.